That is actually very close to my question, but I have a follow-on to that. Obviously, over time it changed. I have an 83-year-old mother who's in, poor health, and I've got all the wishes are known. The siblings know that. I'm 49, and then I have teenage children, a daughter who just turned 16 and is now behind the wheel. When is it appropriate? Do we have the conversation with our own children? Mm-hmm. And I've lived through the experience of the car crash and the decision to not continue life support. Do you have those conversations with your own children, not only about your wishes for yourself, but with them if something were to happen? When is the appropriate age to start doing this? And then again, obviously to replan, because what I would want at age 49 in terms of my end-of-life decisions today would be very different than if I'm 83 or 4.
The juniors and seniors thought that, kind of along the lines of the question about talking about death with kids, they thought it should be something that if someone asks or something happens, to use those opportunities, like a classmate who's lost in an accident or something, to use those kinds of opportunities to say, I just want to talk with you guys about this, or you guys could use this tonight. Went to this thing at MBA. Here's what they were talking about. I just wondered if you guys had ever thought about that. Any opportunity like that, it was their opinion that that was a way to sort of break the ice and begin talking about that. Certainly if you have, so this would be a grandparent to your 16-year-old talking about what's coming. But it follows along the lines of developmentally, what can they handle, what are they willing to handle, what are they willing to listen to, answering questions honestly, same thing.
Do you have thoughts on that?
I mean, I had
Think
that
about your
discussion
kids.
with my sons at ages 19 and 21 as a result of the experience I went through. And I think it's a great point, which is when an event takes place like this, it's the perfect time to have that discussion because they had seen everything from the beginning to the end. And they were very comfortable to have that conversation.
I think to some extent, too, our culture, we've thought that we weren't supposed to tell kids about this stuff, right? And so we all grow up for many, many years with never knowing about this stuff until we have to go to the open casket funeral of our grandparent, which is a complete shock because no one's ever talked to you about it. The other thing that my high school students said was we should be more open about this. We should talk about it as a normal part of life. And that was their idea. They thought that was might be helpful to change the culture so that it's more open, that we admit that we might be mortal and what goes with that.
If I can tee on that just a little bit too, one of the things that has been rolling around since I graduated from med school, and probably before then, but I actually graduated med school the year Alive Hospice was formed, so we're both 37 years into all of this. I'm officially about the same age as dirt, but was this concept that if you talk to people about this, they'll throw up their hands, they'll lose hope, and they'll die. And that was summarily blown out of the water in August of 2010 when Jenny Temmel at Mass General took 151 patients with non-small cell lung cancer widely spread at the time of diagnosis. These people were all incurable. Half of them got usual care, the other half got usual care plus palliative medicine consultation. And they followed them to the only hard endpoint there is, death. And what they found was that in the palliative care group, they were 4 times more likely to have advance directives in place. Gee, go figure. They were 1/3 as likely to have had chemotherapy within a week of their dying. They had better symptom control. They adopted hospice earlier, and they lived 3 months longer. So this does not cause people to wither and die. It's frequently the elephant in the room, and it's such a relief when it gets out.
The other thing about that study, one of the endpoints was they really wanted to understand the experience of families. So it isn't just about the patient, it's also about the family. For a lot of families going through a terminal illness, it can cause so much stress that they get post-traumatic stress disorder. So that was one of the endpoints of the study, and that's indeed what they found, was that the families on the palliative care side were more at ease. And they talked about how their loved one lived better to the end, and that was very important to them. They're replicating the study right now because actually they weren't studying did it extend life. That was just an incidental finding.
It's probably worth saying, too, something that we all know, which is that it's only my generation and the generation before me that have really experienced this as a major issue. If you grew up on a farm, things die on the farm and you go on, and it's a part of the routine give and take of life. All four of my grandparents died at home, but both of my parents died in hospital.
Actually, 3 of my 4 grandparents died in my parents' home, and that's certainly been pretty formative for me. But it's interesting that having happened, trying to get my 90-year-old father and my 87-year-old mother to talk about their advance directives is a little bit like pulling teeth. Just don't want to go there. It is this uncomfortable for lots of people. And if we're going to emerge from this, we can't be that uncomfortable. That's the big piece.